Piastri, F3 champion, F2 champion, and now at the age of 24, he's leading in the fastest car. Won 3 races this year. Fantastic, scary guy. At the beginning of the season, Norris said 2025 is my year, as if Piastri doesn't exist. Uh, you always have to be humble in F1 because you never know who's the next thing. What are your thoughts, Afolabi, about Piastri's victory?
Yeah, first and foremost, he's an excellent driver, very skillful, and his decision making, belies his tender years. The way he handles pressure is like an
Yeah,
elite driver, and there's
yeah,
something about his driving that is so smooth, and all of a sudden he's becoming the king of qualifying. I mean, it took a hairline of a second for Verstappen to take pole yesterday. He was very, very fast, and he
yeah.
consistently nails his qualifying laps, squeezing every turn from the car without overdriving. If you look at his Bahrain
Yeah,
pole,
but we're talking about Piastri here now. Okay,
yes, I'm
let's
talking
go on.
about Piastri. If you look at his Bahrain pole too, he was very, very, it was on point with it. So I think he has
Yeah,
really, and I think this is his third year in Formula One. And he joined McLaren at a time where McLaren was not really doing well. So he has added a lot of value to that team. And his braking technique too is another technical aspect of his driving that I
yeah,
like so much. Combines late braking with minimal lockup risk, which is very vital for good
yeah.
driving.
And if you saw the race, this guy still made a lot of errors. Norris. The reason I'm saying that is to say that the way that Piastri drives with his V corner, the way he drives with the corners with the V, and with his handling, and he's doing a lot better with this car. I don't think it's just that Norris is psychologically off. I think Norris is having handling problems, but Piastri's handling that car. Improved racecraft this year, improved qualifying. Last year, he was nowhere in qualifying. Like you said, he's only been beaten by Verstappen slightly in qualifying as of late. I think he won the qualifying last week. So this is 2 weeks in a row of winning qualifying and getting him and no, he didn't win qualifying this week, but he came close. So he's gotten a lot better. He had a little bit of problems with his tires, but he was fortunate about that penalty. Let's talk about that penalty. To me, he pushed Verstappen off the track. What do you think? Yeah,
I
at the
think
start.
he figured that was the only way he could
Oh
pass.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah,
So he just, because if I was Verstappen, what more could Verstappen had done in that situation? That's why I think these things are relative. The angle that the stewards may be looking at may have favored,
no, they can look at it. They have to look at it from all angles afterwards
from
when they
all
make that
angles.
decision.
But in my own opinion, I don't know what more Verstappen could have done, really. And
Yeah,
that second penalty was decisive. It was
but
decisive.
still, nevertheless, Piastri did what he was supposed to do at the start, angle towards Verstappen to try to cut him so he
Yes.
doesn't get to the corner. So he did what he was supposed to do, but I think he got away with one
It was
there.
all about
Not
that
happy
turn
about
one. It
not
was all
happy
about
about it, but
mm.
at least Norris didn't win. So that's the first thing we learned. Second thing we learned is that Leclerc is driving the frick out of that car. It's not that great with performance. Apparently, it's gotten a little bit better with race pace because Hamilton didn't do too bad in race pace. But Leclerc stayed out there on a long stint on the middles, and he said it was free air. So humble. He said it was the free air when the other guys pitted. He stayed out there. He did what he was supposed to do. And as we said, we predict that he'll get some podiums. I still don't see him winning in that car, but he might win in that car some races the way he's pushing that car. Since they had that problem with the WDSQ, the first thing he did was beat Hamilton when he had a his wing without a front wing or with half of a front wing. At first, people said, "Oh, it must have been." We can't explain it. We can explain it. He's driving well. He's becoming like Verstappen, in which he uses braking, footwork, and everything like that, and then not short corners, but V corners and everything to make up for the problems with that car. And to me, he along with Verstappen and Russell are the best drivers on the grid this year for this year. Brilliant race by him, brilliant Q3, fantastic. Nobody would believe that car could be in Q3. Hamilton's languishing in Q7. What are your thoughts about Leclerc?
Yeah, Leclerc.
I wanted to say Liastri, Leclerc.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc delivered an impressive performance. I was one of the people that felt that Ferrari car would come short in Jeddah because their setup was not optimal enough for that particular racetrack. And I looked at it, I said, these people are going to do very badly in this race, but it continues to defy people's conventional logic in the sense that with the same car, Lewis Hamilton is not doing nearly as much as Charles Leclerc. His racecraft has improved, like you mentioned, and he managed his tire very, very expertly. And he chose the time, to overtake, which were very, very crucial in maintaining his
Yeah, he also
position.
has good trouble spotting, like not just racecraft, but figuring out things that they can do to adjust. That's why his car is different from Hamilton. Hamilton would say it's because they're favoring him. No, it's because he's taking the initiative. And then Hamilton would say, well, why doesn't he give me the info? He's not giving you any info. He's trying to beat you, man. What are your
No,
thoughts?
the guy, it's not about info because the guy is doing all he has to do to ensure
Yeah.
that the communication with the engineers is helping him to extract maximum performance from the car. You fucking do the same thing, and then you probably get similar results, and stop sulking. That's just the way I feel with Lewis Hamilton because this guy, if I was Charles Leclerc and they brought Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, there's a tendency that I will feel intimidated because of Hamilton's record. But he has bottled down, knuckled down, and he has even improved. If you remember last year, up until Monaco, the error-prone driver here was Leclerc. But look at how he has started the season. In spite of all the setbacks of the double DSQs, he has done really well this season.
He's mature. You know what it was? Hamilton came in on his high horse and his gentleman's cape that he did in GQ. And everybody was like, they're going to cater to Hamilton and make him the number one driver. Leclerc took that personally, but rather than complaining or becoming enemies with anybody, he doubled down and did his work. He has finally matured as a driver. Finished. What are your thoughts? Because you had the third thing. Third thing we learned. What is it about Red Bull? You tell us, man.
Oh yeah, basically, I was really happy. Like I said yesterday, the Red Bull engineers studied this circuit. They looked at it as it's somewhat similar to Suzuka. So they just did a little minor tweak. They worked basically on the load on the temperature of the car. So what they did was that they opened up the air duct at the back, and then the louvers in front of the car, they made it wider so that during the long straights, when you needed speed, the car could exert a lot of speed. And then the downforce to drag ratio was designed in such a way
Yeah.
that they had aerodynamic efficiency.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of downforce, but they had a lot of.
You actually need a lot of downforce, but they didn't make it too high, so it will affect the straight speed.
Yeah. And whatever they lost, and also because it's a high speed track, there's also natural downforce when you reach those on those high speed corners. And even though they don't have as much downforce as McLaren, coming into the corners, they have more speed.
They have more speed.
And only guys like Verstappen can attack those high speed corners at high speed because of his skill. Bad luck for Yuki, though.
And there was something they did too that impressed me because if you're going into corners at high speed, your cornering and your grip too is important. I don't know how they did it. The cornering and the grip was really very firm.
Oh, the grip was very good. I'm not sure what they're doing. And I think also that thing they did with the aero, it's actually also keeping the tires warm because as we saw, Verstappen actually was closing in on Piastri again, and he was leaving Piastri. So he did very well. People will say that it's clean air, but even behind Piastri, he was closing in. So the tire management for Red Bull has gotten a lot better, but they're not going to tell anybody that because they're trying to sandbag a little bit. But their tire regulation is good because they had the best tire deg in this race. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you.
The best anti-tire deg. He had the least tire degradation. Anti-tire deg.
Yes, and all of this has lifted the gloom because after Bahrain, you could hear the comments coming out from the media that Helmut Marko was saying that this guy is going to leave and everything. So there was a bit of gloom and disconnect, But
oh yeah, but they're a team. They're working together as a team.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt Verstappen was able to look at the Bahrain Grand Prix and detail to the engineers, these are the issues with this car. See what you can do to improve in Jeddah. And I feel they actually improved the setup of that car, and it's beginning to extract more pace than we expected. If you look at the pace of that car, I never expected that the Red Bull car would be that fast.
I'm just worried that at Miami, which is slow speed, they're still going to struggle. But I think they've gotten better. But I think Verstappen will be struggling. I think he would come to get podium on the next track, but we'll have to analyze it.
But McLaren is still going to remove that thing, and once they do,
remove their front wing.
Well, I don't know.
Not by Miami, by Spain.
Oh, Miami, okay.
All right, it's over, man. This week is over. We're not doing 30-minute speeches where some people talk.
I also like to mention a shout out to the Williams team. I think they finished 7 and 8 or 8 and 9. I'm happy for Carlos Sainz because he's been doing
Sainz beat Albon. Yeah, he beat Albon.
Yeah, I think he finished ahead of Albon. So He hasn't been
Where,
doing bad this season. It was a good one
but
for him.
how did Haas finish? Yeah.
Haas, I can't remember. Let me just quickly check. I have the results here. Haas,
Haas is Haas is Haas is
Magnussen finished 15th.
okay, 15.
Yeah.
He must be Atman. Atman.
And Hockenberg finished 10th. Hockenberg finished 10th.
Not bad, not bad. All
Yeah.
right, so let's get out of here. We'll be back